Subscribe to the channel and also press the bell icon to never miss an update from Endeavour Careers.
Hello and welcome to Endeavour's GK Capsule for the month of September 2021. It was a month of Tokyo Paralympics where India recorded its best ever performance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi went on his first international visit to USA this month. With 3 summits, that is BRICS, SCO and Quad, September was a month of a lot of diplomatic activities. Let's look at these and other highlights of the month. The first category is awards and recognitions. Time magazine released its annual list of the 100 most influential people of 2021. It is a global list of leaders and celebrities from different fields ranging from politics, science as well as show business. The Time magazine list is considered as one of the most trustworthy lists, and appearing on the list is considered an honor for the respective personality. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee, CEO of the Serum Institute of India Adar Poonawalla are among the few Indians who have been featured in Time magazine's list of 100 most influential people of 2021. The list also includes US President Joe Biden, US Vice President Kamala Harris, Chinese President Xi Jinping, and former US President Donald Trump. Interestingly, the name of the Taliban co-founder Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar also features in Time magazine's list of most influential people of 2021. Others on the annual list include Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, and Tesla CEO Elon Musk. Japanese tennis player Naomi Osaka, pop star Britney Spears, fashion designer Aurora James, actors Kate Winslet and Scarlett Johansson also made it to the list, among others. India's National Academy of Letters, or the Sahitya Academy, announced the winners of the prestigious Sahitya Academy Fellowship for the year 2021. Along with Sahitya Academy Awards, the fellowship is considered as the highest honor for senior authors. For the year 2021, eminent English writer Ruskin Bond, Hindi writer Vinod Shukla, and 6 others were selected for the Sahitya Academy Fellowship. The other authors who received the fellowship are Sirshendu Mukhopadhyay for Bengali, M. Leelavathi for Malayalam, Dr. Bhal Chandra Nemade for Marathi, Dr. Tejwant Singh Gill for Punjabi, Swami Ram Bhadracharya for Sanskrit, and Indira Parthasarthi for Tamil. The government of Philippines announced the winners of Ramon Magsaysay Award 2021. Established in 1958, Ramon Magsaysay Awards are considered as Asia's highest honor. The 5 winners of the award this year include 4 individuals and an organization from Indonesia. A Bangladeshi vaccine scientist and a microfinance pioneer from Pakistan are among the 5 recipients of this year's Ramon Magsaysay Award. Dr. Firdausi Qadri is a leading vaccine scientist from Bangladesh. She is credited with developing affordable vaccines for cholera and typhoid for children and infants. The 64-year-old Mohammad Amjad Saqib is a development worker from Pakistan. He runs a microfinance program named Akhuwat, which disperses zero-interest loans to the underprivileged people. Akhuwat has a phenomenal loan repayment rate of 99.9%. The other winners of this year's award are Roberto Balloon from the Philippines, who works with the fishermen to create a sustainable marine environment, Stephen Muncy, who works for refugee assistance and peace building, and Indonesian media organization Watchdog for its investigative journalism and documentaries. The formal award presentation ceremony will be held in Manila on 28th of November. The next category is Persons in News. Air Marshal V.R. Chaudhary has been appointed as the next Chief of Indian Air Force. He is currently the Vice Chief of Air Staff. Air Marshal V.R. Chaudhary will succeed Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhadoria, who retired on 30th September. An alumnus of the National Defence Academy, Pune, Chaudhary is a recipient of the Param Vishisht Seva Medal, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, and the Vayu Sena Medals. Suhas Yathiraj, who is currently serving as the District Magistrate of Noida, has won silver medal in men's badminton event in the Tokyo Olympics. Suhas is an IAS officer of 2007 batch. With this, he has become the first IAS officer to win a Paralympic medal. Hailing from Karnataka, Suhas graduated as a computer science engineer in 2004. He worked in a private company before joining IAS in 2007. The 38-year-old Suhas is a world rank number 2 in his category. He gave a tough fight to the world rank number 1 Lucas Mazur of France in the finals and won a silver medal in the Tokyo Paralympics. Top leaders of the country, including President Ramnath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, congratulated Suhas on his historic success. In a significant political move, both BJP and Congress were forced to replace their respective chief ministers in Gujarat and Punjab. BJP replaced Vijay Rupani with Bhupendra Patel as the new chief minister of Gujarat. The 59-year-old Bhupendra Patel is a first-time MLA. The replacement of Congress Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh in Punjab was a result of infighting within the party. Charanjit Singh Channi was appointed as the new Chief Minister of Punjab. Both the states, Gujarat and Punjab, are scheduled to go for elections next year. Famous television actor and reality TV star Siddharth Shukla died due to heart attack. The news came as a shock as Siddharth was only 40 years old and was extremely fit. Preliminary reports suggest that the actor had taken some medicines that caused a sudden massive heart attack.
The next category is Places in News.
The Union Ministry of Tourism has selected Meghalaya's Kong Thong village for entry to the United Nations World Tourism Organization's Best Tourism Villages Award. Kong Thong village is located in the East Khasi Hills district, approximately 60 kilometers from the state capital Shillong. Kong Thong is also known as the Whistling Village, as people of this village have used whistling as a method of conveying their messages to their fellow villagers. The villagers here call each other with a unique tune. Each of them have a unique tune for calling each other, and this tradition has been going on for generations. Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited has successfully commissioned India's largest floating solar power plant on 16th September. Located at Simhadri in Andhra Pradesh, the 25 megawatt floating SPV project covers an area of 100 acres. Besides producing clean power, the project will also reduce water evaporation by providing shade to the covered area. In a setback to real estate company Supertech, Supreme Court passed an order to demolish the two 40-floor towers built by Supertech in one of its housing projects in Noida. In its judgment, the top court observed that the construction of the two towers, comprising total 1,000 flats, was carried out illegally. In its final judgment, the Supreme Court observed collusion with the real estate company and government officials. As per the court orders, the two towers named Apex and CN should be demolished within a period of 2 months. The real estate company Supertech will have to carry out the demolition exercise at its own cost. Additionally, every flat owner will have to be paid a reimbursement at an interest rate of 12%. Let us now look at major highlights in the category of national news. The Supreme Court Collegium, headed by Chief Justice N.V. Raman, has recommended to the Centre the names of the new Chief Justices of the 13 state High Courts. 8 of these 13 names are for promotion, whereas 5 sitting Chief Justices are to be transferred to other High Courts. The list includes name of Justice Rajesh Bindal as Chief Justice of Allahabad High Court, Justice Ranjit More for Meghalaya High Court, Justice Satish Chandra Sharma for Telangana, Justice Prakash Srivastava for Calcutta, Justice R.V. Malimat for Madhya Pradesh High Court, Justice Ritu Raj Avasthi for Karnataka, Justice Arvind Kumar for Gujarat High Court, and Justice Prashant Kumar Mishra for Andhra Pradesh High Court as Chief Justices. The Supreme Court Collegium, headed by Chief Justice Ramana, has been taking steps to fill up a large number of vacancies in higher judiciaries in the country. After assuming charge as the Chief Justice of India in April this year, Justice Raman has recommended nearly 100 names for appointment to different high courts. In a historic decision on 17th August, the Supreme Court Collegium recommended 9 names, including 3 women, for elevation as judges in the Supreme Court of India. The Supreme Court directed the central government to allow women candidates to appear for the November 2021 entrance exam to the National Defence Academy. With this order, the Supreme Court refused to accept the centre's request to allow women candidates to appear for the entrance exam to the NDA from next year, saying that gender equality cannot be postponed. Entrance exams for entry into NDA are held twice a year, and the government proposed to induct women candidates by May 2022. However, Supreme Court declined that. The Supreme Court was hearing a petition filed by Advocate Kush Kalra. The petition raised the issue of exclusion of eligible and willing female candidates from joining the NDA solely on the ground of sex, which allegedly was a violation of fundamental right to equality. The Telangana government launched a first-of-its-kind Medicines from the Sky project on 11 September. Under this project, the drugs and vaccines will be delivered using drones. Drone is a frontier technology that can be used to access inaccessible areas and thus allow access to basic services like healthcare for even the farthest and remotest of areas. Medicines from the Sky project is developed in partnership with the World Economic Forum, Niti Aayog and HealthNet Global. The project will be taken up on a pilot basis in 16 zones in Telangana and scaled up to the national level at a later stage. Following the launch of Medicines from the Sky project, Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia met with Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao and promised to extend full support for this project. India created a world record with over 2.5 crore doses of COVID vaccine to be administered on 17 September. This is the highest single tally so far anywhere in the world. 17 September is the birthday of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The World Health Organization also congratulated India for the vaccination milestone. Meanwhile, sources in the Health Ministry said that it is in ongoing talks with foreign vaccine manufacturers Pfizer, Moderna and Johnson & Johnson to bring in more vaccines to the Indian market. India will get about 20 crore doses of Covishield and 3.5 crore doses of Covaxin along with 1 crore doses of Zydus Cadila in October. The vaccination for children will be rolled out as soon as researchers give approval for that. Let us now look at major highlights in the category of international news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi went to the USA on a 3-day visit starting from 23rd September. This was Prime Minister Modi's first visit abroad beyond the neighborhood since the coronavirus pandemic outbreak. Prime Minister Modi was invited to participate in the first in-person meeting of the leaders of the Quad group of countries, that is USA, Japan, Australia and India. The Quad summit was held on 24th September where the leaders of the 4 member countries discussed ways to boost cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region amid China's growing dominance in the area. Prime Minister Modi also held individual discussion with Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga and Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison. Prime Minister Modi also held meetings with US President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. This was his first meeting with Biden after he became the US President in January this year. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party will form the next government in Canada following a tightly contested general election against the Conservative Party. The Liberal Party, however, fell short of gaining full majority in the Parliament. The Liberals won 157 seats compared to Conservatives' 122 seats. Justin Trudeau entered the election leading a stable minority government. He called for an early election 2 years before the deadline in the hope of gaining majority. Trudeau was betting that he could capitalize on his handling of the pandemic to win a majority. Canada is now among the most fully vaccinated countries in the world, and Trudeau's government spent hundreds of billions of dollars to prop up the economy amid lockdowns. However, Justin Trudeau lost that gamble as the new minority parliament will look like the previous one. Sri Lanka has declared an economic emergency on 30th August to maintain the supply of food items and to keep inflation under check. Sri Lanka is a net importer of food and other commodities. A steep fall in the value of its currency and a severe crunch in its foreign exchange reserve is threatening to become a balance of payment crisis for Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan rupee has fallen by 7.5% against the US dollar this year. By the end of July, Sri Lanka had just $2.36 billion worth of forex, which is enough to cover only a month of imports. There are other problems too. Sri Lanka is witnessing a surge in COVID-19 cases and deaths, which has hit tourism, one of its main foreign currency earners. Forced by inflation and food shortages, Sri Lanka declared an economic emergency on 30th August. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has appointed a former Army General as Commissioner of Essential Services who will have the power to seize food stocks held by traders and retailers and regulate their prices. The United States, United Kingdom and Australia announced a new defense deal on 16 September. Under the deal, America and Britain will help Australia deploy nuclear-powered submarines in the Pacific region. The deal is seen as a step towards countering China in the Pacific region, especially in and around the South China Sea. Australia's Prime Minister Scott Morrison said that the new trilateral security partnership between Australia, UK and US will enhance Australia's naval capabilities in the Pacific, where China has been particularly aggressive. China has been one of Australia's biggest trading partners, but the relationship has gone bad over the last few years. India welcomed the new pact as it signals a strong political resolve to confront the growing security challenges from China. However, the deal has complicated the relations between France and Australia and also France and USA. The French Foreign Minister has called the new deal as a stab in the back as it destroys the France-Australia submarine deal confirmed in 2019. French Defense Minister also accused USA of keeping France out of loop and taking unilateral decision without informing the allies. In retaliation, France recalled its ambassadors from USA and Australia. The talks are going on between USA and France to sort out the differences. Flash flooding caused by Hurricane Ida killed at least 44 people in the New York area in the early part of the month. Record rainfall, which prompted an unprecedented flash flood in the New York City, turned streets into rivers and shut down subway services. Hundreds of flights were cancelled. Flooding closed major roads across New Jersey and New York, including Manhattan, submerging cars and forcing the fire department to rescue hundreds of people. The majority of these deaths were individuals who got caught in their vehicles. 11 people died in New York City who could not escape their basements. Hurricane Ida blazed a trail of destruction, bringing severe flooding and tornadoes. The officials blamed climate change and global warming for this unprecedented weather crisis. The next category is news from the field of business, economy and industrial sectors. The much-awaited BAD Bank or the National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited received approval from Union Cabinet on 16 September. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced that the government would provide Rs 31 crores guarantee to the newly formed National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited. The bad bank refers to a financial institution that buys non-performing assets or bad loans of the banks and undertakes their resolution. The National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited is created in collaboration with both public and private sector banks. The company was incorporated in Mumbai last month, and the Indian Banks Association or IBA has approved RBI for a license to set up a bad bank. In May this year, Padma Kumar Nair of SBI was appointed as the CEO of the proposed bad bank or the National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited. The Government of India has moved a step closer to selling Air India as final bids for the airline have been submitted on 15 September. The Tata Group and SpiceJet have submitted their financial bids for acquiring Air India. While the Tata Group has submitted its offer through a wholly owned subsidiary company, Ajay Singh of SpiceJet is believed to have partnered with other entities for the bid. This is a major development in Air India's divestment process, which has faced significant delay due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The government hopes to conclude the disinvestment of Air India by the end of the current financial year. Air India has failed to attract a bidder in 2018 when the government floated an offer to sell a 76% stake. However, the government is looking to sell its entire stake in Air India this time. Sony India has announced to buy the competitor Zee Entertainment, merging their television channels, film assets and streaming platforms to become the largest broadcaster in the country. Sony Pictures Networks India, a unit of Japan's Sony Group, will own 53% in the new entity. Sony will own popular channels like Sony Max and Zee TV and OTT platforms ZEE5 and Sony Live. It will provide Sony a dominant position in the Indian TV and streaming market with over 50% market share. It will also help Sony to better compete with companies like Netflix and Disney. Puneet Goenka, CEO of Zee Entertainment, will become the CEO and MD of the combined entity. The next category is meetings and summits. 3 major summit meetings were held this month. The 13th summit of BRICS countries was held on 9th September. The summit was chaired by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, with other BRICS leaders attending the summit in a virtual format. The theme of the summit chosen by India was BRICS at 15, Intra-BRICS Cooperation for Continuity, Consolidation and Consensus. BRICS is an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. The meeting was attended by Brazilian President Bolsonaro, Russian President Vladimir Putin, Chinese President Xi Jinping, and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. The BRICS leaders discussed important regional and global issues, including the recent developments in Afghanistan. The 21st Summit of Shanghai Cooperation Organization or SCO was held on 17 September in Dushanbe, the capital of Tajikistan. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a group of 8 countries, namely China, Russia, India, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. The summit was held in a hybrid form, with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressing the summit via video link. In his address, Prime Minister Modi highlighted the problems caused by growing radicalization and extremism in the region. PM Modi also expressed his concern at the situation in Afghanistan. During the summit, Iran's bid to become a member of SCO was approved by the members. After a technical and legal process concludes, which could take up to 2 years, Iran will formally join the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The first ever in-person summit meeting of the Quad countries was held in Washington on 24th September. The Quad or Quadrilateral Framework in the Indo-Pacific is a group of 4 countries, namely USA, Japan, Australia and India. After a virtual meeting of Quad leaders in March, the US President convened the first in-person meeting in September. The meeting was attended by US President Joe Biden, the outgoing Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Quad is a group of 4 countries to counter China's aggressive economic and military policies. Important issues discussed during the summit were security in the Indo-Pacific region, connectivity and infrastructure project to counter China's Belt and Road Initiative, cooperation in countering COVID-19 pandemic and climate change. The next category is science and technology. SpaceX has made history again when it launched 4 private passengers into orbit on 15 September in the world's first all-civilian crew. A reusable Falcon 9 rocket carried 4 civilians on a 3-day space trip in orbit around Earth. It's not the first time that private passengers have flown into space, but the mission is the first expedition into orbit without any professional astronauts on board. The successful launch of the Inspiration 4 mission is a key milestone for SpaceX and a boon for the growing space tourism industry. 2 months ago, rival billionaires Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson both traveled to space in vehicles developed by their own respective aerospace companies. Bezos' Blue Origin and Branson's Virgin Galactic are planning to offer orbital flights for space tourists in the future. The Indian Air Force inducted medium-range surface-to-air missile system Barak-8 on 9 September. Barak-8 air defense system is developed jointly by India and Israel. The missile is capable of hitting aerial threats such as enemy fighter jets, missiles, helicopters and drones at a range of 70 kilometers. The RDO chief G. Satish Reddy handed over the first firing unit of the system to Air Chief Marshal RKS Bhadoria in presence of Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. India and Israel have inked separate deals worth around $3 billion over the last 4 years for advanced surface-to-air missile systems for 3 services. A naval version of the Barak system is already deployed on a few Indian warships. The Army too has placed orders, but it has yet not inducted the system. A member of US Central Intelligence Agency (CIA) has become the first reported victim of Havana syndrome in India. The officer came to India as a part of CIA Director William Burns' delegation earlier in the month. The development came after US Vice President Kamala Harris's visit to Vietnam was delayed when multiple US personnel reported Havana syndrome symptoms just ahead of her trip last month. The Havana syndrome is a mysterious neurological illness which has affected US diplomats and spies. It was first reported in Cuba in 2016. The illness starts after hearing strange sounds and experiencing odd physical sensations. The symptoms include nausea, several headaches, fatigue, dizziness, sleep problems, and hearing loss. In some cases, the symptoms persist for months. Doctors and scientists are pointing to a possible microwave radiation attack by enemies as one of the probable causes of these symptoms. A study by American National Academy of Sciences noted that Russia has done significant research in microwave weapons. Microwave weapons are a type of direct energy weapon which aims highly focused energy in the form of sonic, laser, or microwaves at a target. Russia, however, has denied any role in these attacks. The next category is sports. The 2020 Tokyo Paralympics was held from 24th August to 5th September in Tokyo, Japan. As with the Olympics, the Paralympics were also largely held without allowing audience in the stadium due to the pandemic. Tokyo Paralympics was an international event with 22 sports. Badminton and taekwondo made their debut in this year's Paralympics. China topped the medal table with 207 medals. India won a total of 19 medals with 5 golds, 8 silvers and 6 bronze. Table tennis player Bhavina Patel won India's first Paralympic medal in table tennis. Shooter Avni Lekharat won first gold medal for India. Sumit Antil created a new world record in javelin throw to win gold. The 2021 US Open was held in New York from 30th August to 12th September. It was the fourth and last Grand Slam event of the year. After the 2020 tournament, which was held behind closed doors, this year spectators were allowed in the stadium. Daniil Medvedev of Russia defeated Novak Djokovic to win the men's singles title. In women's singles category, Emma Raducanu of Britain created history by becoming the first qualifier to win the title. The 19-year-old Emma defeated Leila Fernandez of Canada in the finals. Virat Kohli announced on 16 September that he will step down as India's T20 captain after the conclusion of the upcoming ICC T20 World Cup 2021. Kohli has captained India in 45 T20 matches, winning 27 of them. Kohli cited the immense workload as the reason for this decision. The BCCI is as yet to name Kohli's successor as captain in the T20 format. Virat Kohli will continue to serve as captain in ODI and Test formats. In the end, let us look at some other miscellaneous news items. The Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan released the National Institutional Framework Ranking for the year 2021 on 9th September. The NIRF is India's official ranking of top universities and colleges. IIT Madras has managed to retain its number one position in the overall educational institutes. Similarly, Indian Institute of Science Bangalore remains the top university in India. Miranda House Delhi was declared best college in India. IIM Ahmedabad topped the list of best MBA colleges in the country. This year, the ranking has been released across 11 different categories. You can check the complete ranking across all categories in the pinned comment below. The Union Ayush Ministry launched a new mobile app called Y Break or Yoga Break. The app consists of asanas, pranayam and dhyan. It is a 5-minute yoga protocol especially designed for working professionals to de-stress, refresh and refocus at their workplace to increase their productivity. The launch was a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, a series of events organized by the Government of India to celebrate 75th year of independence. With this, we have come to the end of this video. We hope you like the coverage of topics in our monthly GK Capsule. Do also watch our other videos. Happy learning. Thank you.